I think I need to record one more video today and I'll post it. I just posted one on the schedule. I hope that helps. There may be another one on the schedule, but somehow I neglected to furnish a link to it. I'm not trying to make you watch extra videos. I'm trying to, but there's a lot to cover in this class, and then this is also a backup for other students. In fact, I'm recording in my face-to-face class out at Wildwood. But let's look at the Clark versus MKT case. There's a couple things we need to look at. First of all, is Clark versus MKT. There should be, now this is only at St. Louis Community College. I've created a folder for this at UMSL. Let me see if things are still working. What I've got is a copy of the Clark opinion as I modified it. That's this modified one. And then I've got a copy of the court opinion as it's available from Nexus Uni. So I've got the original. I've also got what should be a little bit more helpful to you. Same thing happening here. If we click on this Clark versus MKT, I've simply loaded in. Now, I don't know, have I done that yet? For you guys, I need to double check myself. Yes, I've got all the mock trial documents sitting in a folder, but it looks like it's unpublished. What? Oh, goodness. How stupid. Sorry. I thought I had that. Wait a minute. There may be a reason. I'm going to unpublish that. I think there's something went wrong with that one. You've got it in another one. Let's just click on it to see what we got. Yeah, there's a zip file, photos of the scene. I had some trouble loading the other up, but something went wrong in loading all these photos. I've got separate videos that go over the mock trial in much more depth. As we get closer to the mock trial itself, I'll probably create new videos. I know you guys are just waiting around for more videos to watch, but so all of that stuff is sitting there. I have not created the things I was talking about before, but what we have here is, if we, it's just not going to work. Oh, okay. And I think I got this out for you guys too. Let me see. Do I have the broad outline of the mock trial? No, it looks like I'm missing that in my UMSL case. So I'll bring the mock broad outline over from STLCC as soon as I'm done. All right, let's go back into this Clark thing. All right, so basically you've got mock trial documents. That's the zip file that we were seeing in the UMSL case. Photos of the scene is the zip file of the photos. And then this broad outline of the mock trial, I think is a pretty helpful document, but I've got a separate video. I'm not going to record that now. I just want you to know that Clark versus MKT, we are going to write a paper that's mostly about the old facts, the original facts, the 1897 facts, and then we're going to do a mock trial on the modern facts. We're going to say, let's do the same sort of scenario and see what happens because the law changed. And did that alter behavior? Oh, that sounds mildly interesting. Maybe not, when we change law, we're thinking that's what we need to do. All right, so good pick here. Had a little trouble loading stuff in. I think in most places we can go straight to publisher content or McGraw-Hill, and you got all of these uh, textbook things I've talked on about a video there. Let's look at this paper. Um, we're going to do it in four sections, all right? And everybody has the same thing, just the facts, ma'am. That's an old line from Dragnet, Joe Friday. If you type that into Google, you should be able to get a video that where there's probably a whole bunch of videos where that's what Officer Friday says to people who do what I do and wander off base. And here's the deal. These are your instructions. So do what it says here. When I go to grade it, I'm going to go, did they do this? Did they do this? Did they do that? I'm not looking for ways to deduct, but if you're going to give them to me, I'm going to do it. You know, next part is Clark versus MKT, Railroad's admission of prior knowledge. I've done what I can to lay this out. If you want to ask me questions, you're free to. I'll try to respond back to them. You know, send me an email, call me. I'm available to talk about this stuff more. I'm not going to record a more detailed video on exactly how to write a paper. These are pretty clear written instructions. If you have some questions about what I'm asking for, try to phrase it so that we can get to a better space. But basically, the railroad did an admission, and I think I'm not going to bull around about it. I think the court misapplied the law. I have some deep suspicions that a Supreme Court justice may have been paid off, to be blunt about it. Can I prove it? Of course not. I don't have a copy of the check. I don't have a copy of anything. But I think if I put all these things together, this guy deeply favored the railroad, and he misapplied the law. That's my opinion. Lots of other people, good students, even other attorneys I've shown this case to, don't agree with me. And that's kind of interesting. That's part of why we have our legal system, because majority rule. You know, I could be very wrong, and I'm willing to admit that. I'm looking for how well you can reason through all of these points. Last part is when we look at the old law, or not last part, next to last part, the plaintiff had the burden of proving that the railroad injured him through the railroad's negligence. At the time, the railroad had at least three very powerful defenses. And I want you to look them up. I believe I also have a video that talks more carefully about contributory negligence, about assumption of the risk, and about the fellow servant rule. So, you know, I want you to fish around on my website or on my YouTube site and see if you can find something that helps you. And then for each severally, and that means it's kind of redundant, each by itself. That is, do it for CN, do it for assumption of the risk, do it for fellow servant rule. You know, this is the only part of the paper where I might permit some bullet points or number points that the elements of contributory negligence are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and with, or whatever it is, with setting. Okay. You know, most of those two, I'm looking for a 2 to 3 page paper, 2 to 3 pages. Then the last one is, let's look at Clark versus the MKT, the FILA. So quickly, I'll go through. You can look at, you click on them, there's your due date, right? So you're going to send me a file each time. So I'm not going to go through that. I expect you to go through, figure out the due dates, put it in. You can add it to the schedule. But that's basically what this paper does. This paper kind of gets us ready for the mock trial. It's the last part of the paper's due April 30th. I really want everything in by then. I can't remember exactly what my, I think my online or my late policy is. pretty tough this semester because I've got a lot of students and I don't have time to wait around 2 weeks for you to be late. If it's not in within 372 hours after the due date, it is not accepted. You get a zero. Now they're just all small parts of a bigger paper, but it's a total of 130 points. It's a little more than a tenth of your grade. What is that? About an eighth of your grade, give it a little over an eighth of your grade. Um, it's not enough to break you, but it is enough if you don't work hard enough at it to get high. It has potential to be a letter grade separator. And so, do your best on these, write as well as you can. You're free to work with other people, just don't turn in other people's work. A fair number of students exchange language with one another, and as I've said multiple times, I'm batting 19 out of 20 in front of the dean on plagiarism charges. If I were a student, I wouldn't be real keen on plagiarizing with a professor with that kind of record. But you're free to do what you want. I do encourage you to work together. I just don't encourage you to borrow heavily from one another and turn that in as your own work. And I'm not going to do group papers I have in the past. I might with my UMSL class, depending upon how many persist. So that's our video on the Clark paper. Thanks.